Now, I know that sounds boring, stupid, basic, but it's the truth. The only thing that changes our life long term is when we raise our standards. What does that mean? That sounds so boring and dumb. It means that all of us in life have things we want. We don't get what we want. We get what we have to have. Remember I said earlier, we all get what we tolerate in ourselves and other people. But when you're no longer willing to tolerate something, that's when your life changes. The difference in people is their standards, period.
If you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration. This is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. Expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective.
There's so much knowledge out there, so much information, so many ways to get better. And we make so many mistakes. We're the product of our mistakes. And oftentimes the lesson is sitting there right in front of our face. It's there to be learned, but we miss it, or we don't pay attention to it, or we think we know better until it punches us in the face. And the most important thing to learn is that we have so much to learn. We all do. And we can learn from school and from people and from experience, and we learn from life. You have to process the information. You have to absorb it. You have to accept it. You have to open your mind. You got to free your mind so that you can learn and make real progress. And as far as regrets and things I wish I would have done differently, of course, who wouldn't want to take another go at something and improve on the first try by doing it again? And then why not do it again and again and again? And why not just do it over and over again until you have it perfect? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. You get one shot at this gig right here, life.
I want to encourage somebody out there who's thinking about quitting and giving up, somebody who has been praying for years for things to turn around. You're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about giving up, you are caving in. This is for you.
I'm in a fight for my life. I'm in a fight to be a man. I'm in a fight to be a father. I'm in a fight to be a mama. Something in me wants to quit it and walk away. I'm in a fight. Give me somebody.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay focused.
You need to change your mind, because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit.
He wants you to give up and think nothing can grow there. The devil is a lie. The darkness is not real.
This is not the time to throw in the towel. This is not the time to give up. It's the time to trust God more, to dig in deeper. The joy is not in the success. The joy is in trying. The joy is in the process, that I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going at it. See, failure is forming my future. Failure is just another peg in the ladder for me to go higher. I don't want to just know how to make it work. I want to know why it doesn't work. And the only way I can find that out is I got to fall on my face. But guess what? The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up.
Everybody has something that strikes terror in them to do it. Whatever you got hurt at, whatever you got damaged in, it's the thing that you struggle to do. Those strongholds come against you every time you try to move outside of your little prison. And people think you are angry, but the anger is the fruit. The root is the fear. Most angry people are scared. Pull it by the roots. Strongholds. Casting down imaginations, envisioning self-destruction, the enemy terrorizing you with what he might do.
When I'm discouraged, I need somebody to come alongside me to encourage me that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That kind of talk wakes up my faith. It stirs my faith to know that no matter how dark my situation, God can work it out.
I'm telling you, it's possible to be weak. It's possible to feel overwhelmed, outnumbered, out-resourced. It's possible to feel discouraged. It's possible to be going through something that you've never gone through. And if you were to be honest, would say, I am weak this day, yet I'm still anointed king.
You have to make a decision that I will learn from this thing. I've resolved in my spirit that every experience is my education. So the good experiences and the bad experiences, I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to discover the opportunity for me to grow and for me to get better. I'm telling you, I've already made up my mind that I know I will fall down. I know that I will stumble, but I already see myself getting back up. Therefore, I'm never down. I'm either up or getting back up. I'm going to learn.
You got to go through some things in order for you to get faith. You've got to have some life experiences under your belt so you can talk about how strong your faith is. Because if your faith has never been tested, you can't brag on how strong it is.
Anxiety, it makes us feel out of control, and we're trying to put things in order. And so often the very thing that we're afraid of, it's not even as bad as fear itself. Fear is always false evidence appearing real. And when you abide in fear, you're going to always be running for your life. That's why we're the people of God, and we focus on our faith, because our faith always leads us to life, and life more abundantly.
Somebody needs to know today you're going to make it. Somebody needs to know today you're doing all right. You may not be what you ought to be, but you're not what you used to be. And you're going to get there by God's grace. Don't you give up, don't you quit, and don't you keep putting yourself down. You're doing better than you think you are.
Yet what I'm learning more and more in life is that it's fear that causes anxiety. The other side of the coin from depression is always anxiety. Anxiety has this ability to stretch your soul thin, and you feel out of control. Depression, on the other hand, is when you feel like your life is being constricted inward and darkness is enveloping over you. Typically, if you have any level of anxiety, depression will follow. If you have depression, anxiety is right around the corner. Having anxiety and depression is like being scared and tired at the same time. It's the fear of failure, but no urge to be productive. It's wanting friends, but hate socializing. It's wanting to be alone, but not wanting to be lonely. It's feeling everything at once, then feeling paralyzing numb.
What story do I want to tell later down the road? See, every stage in our life becomes a story. At some point, you will end up telling it. We have to remember that the decisions that we make today will be a part of our life.
I want to talk about two different dimensions of fear that I want you to understand before you take the lead. I want to talk about the fear of failure, because many people don't go as far as they should go because they have apprehension that they won't reach their goal. They just say, I'm going to stay down here where I'm at and not try because I might lose. I'm not going to own anything because I might lose it. I'm not going to buy a house because I might lose it. I'm not going to get married because I might get a divorce. That's madness, but that's how it is.
Failure is a part of the process to becoming successful. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world, he took 946 game-winning shots. He has only made 146 of those. You know what they write about? When he make it. So when you fail, it's a part of the process. Keep going. You're supposed to fail. Shit, who you know that gets it right all the time? That's impossible.
Have you given yourself permission to succeed? Or are you so intimidated by the fear of failure that you don't try? On the other side of it is the fear of success. I want it, but I don't want all the stuff that comes with it. I don't want to deal with all the problems that come with it. I don't want to deal with the pressures that come with it. I can't handle it. I'm going to stay on this lower level. And when you do that, you are left with nothing but the hope of magic. I'm just going to stay down here where it's comfortable, but I'm believing that I'm going to get a blessing up here while I'm staying down here. You can't do it. And if you will allow anyone, any voice on the inside to talk you out of this moment, you will forfeit it and be stuck washing your nets when there's a great drought of fish waiting you, if you have the courage to believe.
So deciding as you look at your life, as you look into the future and say, what fears am I holding on to that's keeping me from breaking out, that's keeping me from living up to my true potential, that's keeping me from having a sense of adventure and excitement in my life? What fears that I'm giving that permission to? Because whatever discomfort you experience, whatever challenges or difficulty that it is, you got to handle it. Will it be challenging? Yes. What do you want me to tell you? That it's going to be a picnic? No, it's not. But that's just what you must go through in order to get where you want to go. And guess what? You are strong enough to do it. This dream you got, whatever you want to do, will it happen overnight? No. Will it be a struggle? Yes. Will there be times you won't know what to do? Yes, that's a part of it. But somebody must have told people, oh, life is going to be real easy. If they told you that, I've got a special announcement. They lied. See, when you accept yourself and you accept fear as a fact, but it is not a force to hold you back. So you accept the fact that you are afraid, and then you move on anyhow.
What God has in your future will scare you. But if you'll take a step of faith, you'll see how God scared you into greatness. He scared you into taking new ground. Life is too short to settle for things that are less than what you know is in you. You weren't made to go around and around the next 40 years doing something unfulfilling. Stretch, grow, take courses, learn, do your part, and He'll bring you an opportunity that not only scares you, but excites you.
What really stops us from taking the lead and coming to the forefront a lot of times is not the lack of talent. It's not the lack of education. I've been amazed at the people I have met who were highly educated and failing, highly educated and homeless. So education alone is not the solution. I've worked in penal institutions and seen people who were very gifted and incarcerated. In fact, I've seen people with less talent than you doing more than you. And this is what causes jealousy and envy. When you look and you meet other people who have less to work with than you, and yet they're in higher positions than you, you can either become jealous or you can begin to challenge yourself to say, what is wrong with my belief systems that's stopping me from going to the next level in this area? This is not about money necessarily. This is not about prestige necessarily. This is about progress. Because it's a shame to live long and have no progress. I've been washing these toilets for 27 years. At least let me be the manager of the toilet washers. I want to move up. Maybe it's wrong. Is there anybody in here that wants to move up? I'm going to point out 6 irrational belief patterns that may be hindering you from going to the next level. One of them is undeserving. I just can't see myself as being in this position. I don't deserve it. This often comes from things that people said to you or about you. And so when you see opportunities beyond how you've been programmed, you reject it because you don't feel like you're deserving of it. Beyond undeserving is ordinary. I do not want to stand apart or be different. You'd be surprised at the people, because they have a belief system that holds on to being ordinary, they will not take the lead. The third belief system that may be hindering you is social change. I fear rejection, loneliness, or claims that I have changed or sold out. And all of a sudden, in order to fit in your sociological environment, you passed up the promotion. You wouldn't buy the house that was the best deal for you because it moved you out of the neighborhood that you were defined by, because you want the people you're sitting beside to like you and accept you. And you don't want to be a sellout. The next one I want to deal with is fleeting. My success will be temporal and I will not be able to sustain it. You have performance anxiety. You're afraid that it won't last. You don't want to go out on the date because if you go out on the date, you start a relationship, it's not going to last. It didn't last before. It didn't last with Fred. It didn't last with Jim. It's not going to last. I'm not going to go back to school because I may not complete it. It will not last. And you have a fear that the blessing is fleeting because you have already programmed yourself that nothing else exciting is ever going to happen to you again. The next one I want to talk about is perfectionism. I will have to behave as if I am perfect and I am not. Depart from me. Why? Because I know I've got imperfections. And I don't want to get in the light because somebody might see them. And so I'm going to be secretly talented. I reject the opportunity to be blessed because I know something about myself that I don't want anybody else to know. And I'm more concerned about the security of my reputation than I am my progress. I'm not going to get involved with him because if I get involved with him and he gets too close to me, he will see that I'm not perfect. Where you don't give the person the chance to accept you because you've already criticized yourself, you'd be surprised at the people who talk other people out of loving them. You know exactly what to do to move up into the next position, but you don't want the light on you because you have issues. Newsflash, everybody has issues. Everybody has junk in the trunk. And if you're waiting to clean out all the junk, you may be stuck 20 years cleaning out the trunk. I'm going to go on to this next one. Besiegement. Don't give me the position because if I become manager of the department, my friends won't invite me out anymore. And you start trying to prove to them that you are still who you were because people will put pressure on you to stay low. And it is true, as you go up, there are a great deal of people who associate with you because of where you are and not who you are. Because when you first start going up amongst people who haven't gone up, and they start trying to pull you down because they say, you know, you're the first one in our family to get a degree. You ought to take care of this and you ought to take care of that. Some of you know what I'm talking about. And some people, for fear of having that pressure on them, forfeit the success and stay down rather than to go forward. The inability to manage these fears creates self-sabotaging, self-handicapping situations where you're incapable of moving forward, and it makes you a chronic underachiever. The maybe they'll like me better syndrome keeps you locked into a system that you can't get out of.